Coach, you just want to talk a little bit about the first couple games of the season and heading into these next two home games?
Well, I don't think I would have thought we would be 2-4 right now. I felt like we had an experienced team, and I felt like we were prepared for the competition that we had. And although the schedule is unbelievably tough, and the teams that we've played have presented big problems for us, I have been a little bit disappointed in how we competed, and that's been a learning curve, I think, for my staff and me, and certainly for this team. And so we've spent a lot of time just dissecting us and dissecting how we compete in games, how we manage games, how we manage our emotions, and how much fight we have in us on any given possession. And we've been really, really inconsistent at that. I think in the first round against CSUN, we all the worst of us came out, and then we had to turn around and we had a choice to make. And I was really impressed with how our team responded against Jacksonville. We gave effort plays. We really competed hard. We weren't perfect. We're not perfect, but we had great leadership and competitiveness and fight to us. And so that leads me to where we are now. We've come back and had 2 great days of practice, showing the same signs of life and fight and competitiveness. And to me, that's what I'm going on right now. I feel good about where we are. I feel like we've made some strides. And I don't know that consistently that's the thing. Can you show up every single day and do that every single day? And can you be that good in every single possession? So that's where we are, and that's still to be seen, especially when we face the next month of really tough competition, even before we get to the Pac-12.
What do you think in this first month of games has the team done well, or what's impressed you, and what are you happy to build off of, and as you fix the competitiveness and the stuff you just talked about?
Well, it's hard to really pinpoint us being great at anything. I don't think we've been great on the offensive end. I don't think we've been great on the defensive end. And then the physicality of the game, we haven't matched up well, with the exception of Nebraska. And like I said, the competitiveness that we showed against Jacksonville. So we showed signs that we can do that. We can match people's intensity, match people's physicality. And I think the thing that I've noticed with this team and our struggle and the challenge before us is sometimes these are the things that you don't like to do. A lot of players grow up and they love to score the points, and they love the fancy dribbling, and when the game's pretty easy and you can move the ball easily, it's a fun game to play. But very few games are played like that. You have to fight for possessions. People are not going to give you room. You have to be physical. You have to rebound. You have to run. You have to communicate. You have to do all these things that are really the dirty work of the game. And so until we fix those things, I'm not sure we can be great at anything. But like I said, we've shown some signs of being committed to doing those things better, and I think that's what I'm most impressed with right now with us, is that we've identified that we have to be great in those areas, the intangibles, the work ethic of the game, the again, competing every single possession, and I think we've seen some really great signs of that. I think Chanel Molina has been a real consistent player for us. Bobby can obviously score a lot of points, but her challenge is matching that on the defensive end. And she played probably, I think, her best game for us against Jacksonville in that area. And so I think when we get some real consistent play out of those 2 players, the rest of and with Swede along with that, I think has been giving us everything that she is as a player. So those 3 have been the most consistent players for us, and then we've just got to surround them with a little bit more consistency and find some points with other people.
You got 2 home games this week, San Francisco and Boise State. What do those 2 teams bring that you're looking at, and without giving too much into the scout, but what kind of game should people expect?
Well, San Francisco is a team that's a lot like us, a little bit in flux. Us with the coaching change and lost a lot of players off of last year's team, trying to figure out who we are. They also have a completely different lineup than they had a year ago. So, and they're struggling to identify and figure out who they're going to be and what they can run successfully. But what they do have is just a heart of a lion point guard in Powell, who just wills them and keeps them in games and can make you look really foolish if you don't compete at the same level as she is. So she leads them in every area. We have to figure out how to stop her and contain her, and she's dangerous to the point that she can, if you're not at your best, if you can't score enough points, again, a thing that we've had trouble doing, if we can't get some points on the board, you know, they can stay in a game because of just how hard she competes and makes her teammates better. So clearly that's a challenge for us to figure out, again, will we bring the effort plays and keep the game and play to the scout, but also are we growing in the offensive end of the court, and can we put up points and beat teams that we should beat? That's going to be a real challenge for us. And Boise, on the other hand, is unbelievably good. They're just the opposite. They're an established program, coaches that have been there. They have a great system. They recruit to their personnel and how they want to play. They play and attack the rim. They're unbelievably aggressive on both sides of the ball. Again, a real challenge for us. And they're just tradition of they think they're good and they compete really hard. So two very different teams. Not much time to prepare for Boise, but that's the way it is right now. It's so much about us and what we're going to bring on every given night. And if we can start being more consistent as a team, you know, it doesn't really matter who we play. We should be well prepared for whatever we're seeing.
So is that consistency kind of what you're looking at in the last, five non-conference before heading into conference play is what ideally you would want to see, just consistency and grit?
I think so. I mean, the consistency is the biggest thing, and I think it is the hardest thing to manufacture and to get from a team that hasn't had it in the past. You know, and I think if you had an unbelievable, gritty leader, kind of like this kid off of San Francisco, it elevates everybody else around you. We have a lot of players that really want to do well, and some good players and some talented players. They're just not maybe that kind of leader, and they're wanting to be, and I think we're going in the right direction to grow them into being great competitive leaders. But when we get more of that, we're going to get more consistent, and it doesn't have to be just one person. But I do think our team is understanding what we have to bring every day, not just in games but at practice. And we've seen some real, like I said, some life in those areas. And if we can bring a little bit more consistency in our effort in the hard parts of the game, in playing as fast as we want to on the offensive end, I think you're going to see us put more points on the board and be more consistent and be in games a little bit longer, and be able to compete for those games. But that's going to be the challenge. And again, we have two tough teams to test us on that, and but we're excited to be going against them.